Let us pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and legislative assemblies for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of important trust in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our church. Amen. Good afternoon, honorable members. Good afternoon, honorable members. I thought you have eaten something. At least I've not eaten myself, and I'm strong. So be strong as well. So I'll call upon the clerk that we start the afternoon sitting.
Order number 1, administration of oath.
Proceed, please.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Right. So, honorable members, under this order, I have the following communication to make. I'm taking over the sitting, the afternoon sitting from the Deputy Speaker in the morning, just from a funeral of my neighbor back home. And I have a communication under A, Annual Development Plan for the financial year 2022-23. Honorable members, the Assembly has received the Annual Development Plan, ADP, for the financial year 2022-23 from the County Executive Committee member for Finance and Economic Planning, and the same was received in the Assembly on 1st of September 2021. The ADP, as is usual, has already been committed to the relevant committee, that is under Article 220, 2021, 220 Subarticle 2B of the Constitution, and Section 126 of the Public Finance Management Act. And the committee to which the ADP is committed is the Committee on Trade, Economic Planning, and Industrialization, and for purposes of interrogation. And we do note, honorable members, that the ADP is a very critical document, especially on the implementation of the budget. And it is expected that the committee will give that document priority and the attention that it deserves, that it is going to be presented to this House within a period of 60 days, or even shorter when the committee is ready. The second communication, honorable members, is on the annual financial statements for the financial year 2020-2021. Honorable members, Article 183.3 of the Constitution requires that the County Executive Committee shall provide the County Assembly with full and regular reports on matters relating to the county. This is, of course, on the oversight role of this House. Section 166, subsection 1 of the Public Finance Management Act also provides that an accounting officer for a county government entity shall prepare a report for each quarter of the financial year in respect of the entity, while Section 1663 of the same Act requires that not later than 15 days after the end of each quarter, the accounting officer shall submit the quarterly report to the county treasury. Section 18664A of the same Act, honorable members, provides that not later than 1 month after the end of each quarter, The county treasury shall consolidate the quarterly reports and submit them to the county assembly. Honorable members, pursuant to those provisions of the law, the county assembly received reports and financial statements for the county government of Machakos financial year 2020-21 on the 28th of September 2021 for consideration. The financial statements, honorable members, are hereby committed to the Committee on Finance and Revenue Collection for consideration and for a report to be filed in this House within 30 days. Honorable members, I know you appreciate that you are moving as quickly as possible to effect implementation of the budget, and the financial statements are a critical part of the budget. Honorable members, that is the communication. Mr. Clerk, proceed.
Order number 3, messages.
Proceed, please.
Order number 4, petitions.
Honorable members, under this business, we have, under this order, we have one business, and since it is by a member of the public, the petition will be presented to the House on the table, by the table of the Speaker, and the petition is as follows. Honorable members, the Assembly received a petition through the office of the Clerk of the Assembly, pursuant to Standing Order number 194, from one Mr. Simon Mutisia, who is a resident of Kalama Sub-County, Changala location, Medu Village, on behalf of students of Medu Village on Do Water Project. The petition was received at the County Assembly on 16th of September 2020. Honorable members, the petition raises the following grievances. That in the village of Medu Village, there's a spring in Do River, which if the water, Dune River, which if the water is piped and stored in water tanks, the residents of the village will benefit. 2, the water source is about 1,000 meters from the village, and if well reticulated, it can be of great help to the villagers who lack drinking water. C, the water can be used for domestic purposes and indeed for irrigation as well, and this would go a long way into boosting the economy of the village. And D, the water project can cost the county government about 500,000 shillings only. And the residents of Medu Village would have clean water and would also have water for irrigation. And then that would save them a lot of time, which they've been spending going long distances looking for water. And then they would also receive clean water, and that would save them from waterborne diseases. So, honorable members, the petitioner's prayer to the Assembly is as follows: that the Assembly intervenes to have the residents of Medu Village in Kalama sub-county, get water by having water piped from a water source near the village, as described above, and 2 water tanks be installed in the village for reticulation and supply purposes. Honorable members, Standing Order number 200 provides that the Speaker may allow comments, observations, or clarifications in relation to a petition presented or reported, and such total time shall not exceed 30 minutes. Further, Standing Order number 201 sub-order 1 provides that every petition presented or reported pursuant to this part shall stand committed to the relevant sectoral committee. Honorable members, in this regard, I want to appreciate the members, particularly in this sitting, and appreciate the fact that they may have a comment or so to make, as provided for under Standing Order number 200 so that then I may proceed to commit the petition to the relevant committee. Do we have any member who may wish to make a comment on the petition? Thank you. Honorable, yes. I will come to you, Honorable Dominic. Allow Honorable Minority Leader and then Honorable Nyansi, who I believe comes from the area. He can make a comment. Then we have Honorable Dominic. Honorable Minority Leader.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I'm Alex Kamito, MC Talawal. Madam Speaker, in regard to the petition and the information that we have gotten from the petition, I think, Madam Speaker, it would be very important. Now that this is the information is very clear that there is a lot of water, and the proximity of the water to the village. So, Madam Speaker, my few comments is that we should, as we are directed before, the committee for water is given that mandate. It is also important when they are going to be given that mandate also to summon one of the officer from the water department, that is either the chief officer or the director of water, so that we can make also a site visit, Madam Speaker, to go and confirm if this information is a true information. And if it is a true information, Madam Speaker, then we should not waste time. This is an area we should make a site visit, then outrightly we make use of that spring water. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Minority Leader. Honorable Nyanzi. Mheshimiwa Nyanzi.
Madam Speaker, my name is Paul Nyanzi, MCA kutoka elia hiyo. Hiyo inasemekana ni ya ukweli kabisa, kwa sababu hiyo elia ndio ninatoka hapo na iko ukame mwingi sana, maji hakuna. Ikifanywa hivyo itakuwa kitu ya maana sana kwa wananchi wa Kalama. Asante.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Nyanzi. Honorable Dominic.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My name is Honorable Dominic Ndambuki, representing Kathiani Central Ward. Honorable Speaker, it's very good, and we need to encourage members of public to do many of such petitions so that they can identify needs that are in the community that perhaps maybe, Madam Speaker, we may not have picked. However, Madam Speaker, I would also wish that as we look at that particular case, it is good to spread our nets wider and look at other springs or other water bodies that are within our county and ensure that we bring a conclusive and a more comprehensive report about the same and what can be done. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dominic. So, honorable members, the petition is committed to the Committee on Environment, Lands, Energy, and Natural Resources, and the committee should report to this House within 60 days. It's a matter that needs to be given priority, more so if there's a section of the population here which is lacking water, yet there is water which is near them. Mr. Clerk, proceed.
Order number 5, papers.
Honorable members, under this order, we have one business by Honorable, I'm trying to get the name, Honorable Alice. Thank you. Honorable Alice, welcome.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm Honorable Alice Nzioka, nominated by Maendeleo Chapter Party. Madam Speaker, I stand in for Chairman Park, Honorable Joseph Musau. Honorable Speaker, I wish to lay the following paper on the floor of the House. Today, the audit report of Machakos County Assembly Housing Scheme Fund for the year ended June 2018. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Alice. Can I see, is the paper signed? Just show. Yes, it is signed. Thank you. Mr. Clerk, next order.
Order number 6, notice of motion.
Honorable members, under this order, we have one business, again by Honorable Winfred Mutua, but I am informed that it used to be Honorable Alice. Honorable Alice.
Thank you again, Madam Speaker. I wish to bring this notice of motion. Honorable Speaker, that aware that Article 229(5) of the Constitution provides that the Auditor General may audit and report on the accounts of any entity that is funded from public funds. Further aware that Article 229(7) of the Constitution states that audit reports shall be submitted to Parliament or the relevant county assembly. Cognizant that the audit report of Machakos County Assembly Housing Scheme Fund for the year ended 30th June 2018 was received in the Assembly pursuant to Article 229(7) of the Constitution. Further, aware that the report was committed to the Committee of Public Accounts and Investments Committee pursuant to Standing Order number 185(2)B and C, that states that the Public Accounts and Investment Committee shall be responsible for the examination of reports, accounts, and workings of the county public investments, and whether the affair of the public investments are being managed in accordance with the sound financial or business principles and prudent commercial practices. Aware that the committee, after receipt of the report, conducted several meetings with the accounting officer of the fund, together with the officers from the Office of the Auditor General, and consequently compiled a report. Honorable Speaker, I wish to give notice of motion that this House discusses and approves the audit report of Machakos County Assembly Housing Scheme Fund for the year ended 30th June 2018. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Alice. Mr. Clerk, proceed.
Order number 7, statements.
Proceed, please.
Order number 8, motion, approval of report on consideration of the public finance management, Machakos County Climate Change Fund Administration Regulations 2021.
Thank you. Honorable members, under this motion, we have one business by Honorable Patrick Ituku. Honorable Patrick Ituku.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm Honorable Patrick Ituko, Chairperson, Committee on Delegated and County Legislation, and MCA for Divine Ward. Madam Speaker, that aware that Article 94(5) of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 provides that no person or body other than Parliament has the power to make provision having the force of law in Kenya except under authority conferred by this Constitution or by legislation. Further aware that Article 95(6) of the same Constitution provides that an Act of Parliament or legislation of a county that confers on any state organ, state officer or person the authority to make provision having the force of law in Kenya, as contemplated in Clause 5, shall expressly specify the purpose and objectives for which that authority is conferred, the limits of the authority, the nature and scope of the law that may be made, and the principles and standards applicable to the law made under the authority. Acknowledging that the Public Finance Management, Machakos County Climate Change Fund Administration Regulations 2021 were published in the Kenyan Gazette Vide Legal Number, Notice Number 18 of 2012, submitted to the Clerk of the County Assembly on 22nd July 2021, and subsequently laid in the House on 28th July 2021. Cognizant that the regulations seek to provide for the procedure, management, operation, and winding up of the Machakos County Climate Change Fund and for planning of climate change response interventions that are funded under the fund. I wish to move the motion that this Honorable House discusses and approves the committee report on delegated county legislation on consideration of the public finance management, Machakos County Climate Change Fund Administration Regulations 2021. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I now call upon Honorable George Karaoke, MC for Mudwani Ward, to second my motion. Thank you.
That is Honorable George Kimori. Thank you. I want to appreciate how do you propose to do the report, Honorable Kituko? You normally know how we do it, that you don't need to go page by page. Honorable members, what is your thinking? You've had a look at the report. Honorable Whip, can you whip the members into answering the speaker?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. You know, we have just come from recess,
yes.
and Honorable Speaker, my suggestion is that the Honorable Chair can go to the recommendations and observations so that we now handle the report at that stage. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you for the whipping. What you will do, Honorable Kituku, you just read the headings and what they stand for, and like guided by the whip, the chief whip, then you go to the recommendations which you will read. For record purposes, you need to read the membership of the committee. You don't need to read the mandate, we know. Then you just read the headings like 2.0, consideration of the public, so that you are just guiding the members and for record purposes, because this is still part of the assembly record.
Okay, thank you, Madam Speaker, for your guidance and also guidance of the House. I will try to be fast and brief. We have the regulations, the draft regulations with us. We have the Act, and we've also gone through these documents.
So,
So I
Honorable
know.
Gituko,
Yes, Madam Speaker.
on the cover page, what you have is a report of the Select Committee on Delegated County Legislation,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, Madam
It's
Speaker.
on what?
It is a report on consideration of public finance management, that is Machakos County Climate Change Fund Administrations. That is Regulations 2021,
Legal notice number?
number 18 of 2012.
Thank you. And you can just proceed.
Okay, thank you, Madam Speaker. We have the second page with preface, the mandate of the committee. Then 1.2 has committee membership. Honorable Speaker, the committee membership comprises of Honorable Patrick Ketuko, Chairperson, Honorable George Kengori, the Vice Chairperson, Honorable, and these following members: Honorable Pauline Mongoti, Honorable Josephat Kasioki, Honorable Cosmas Kieti, the Honorable Daniel Kiilo, Honorable Stephen Mwandhi, Honorable Daniel Mbevi, Honorable Thomas Motinda, Honorable John Zomo, Honorable Margaret Mbidi, Honorable Ikusia Kaloki, and Honorable Constance Mbula. We have the committee secretariat, who are Ms. Sarah Mwania, Ms. Faith Kilonzo, and Mr. Brian Mudosi. 2.0 consideration of the public finance management, that is Machakos County Climate Change Fund Administration Regulations 2021. We have the introduction, the purpose of the regulations, the overview of the regulation, the overview up to page 7. And Madam Speaker, after going through the regulations, these are the committee observations and findings. Following comprehensive scrutiny of the Machakos County Climate Change Regulations 2021, the committee made the following observations. 1. Statutory timelines. The regulations were published in the Gazette Vide Legal Notice number 18 of 2012 and submitted to the Clerk of the County Assembly on 22nd July 2021. Hence, is within Statutory Instruments Act under Section 11(1) of the Statutory Instrument Act 2013. 2. Regulatory Impact Statement. Section 6, 7, and 8 of the Act requires the regulatory making authority to carry out a regulatory impact assessment and submit to the Assembly a regulatory impact statement if the proposed regulation has significant cost or impact to the community or a sector of the community. The said document was not provided. 3. You have the explanatory memoranda. Section 5A of the Statutory Instruments Act 2013 provides that every statutory instrument must be accompanied by explanatory memorandum, which contains the following outlined documents, failure to which the regulatory making authority must explain why such consultation were not undertaken. We have A, statement on the proof and demonstration that sufficient public participation was conducted. B, brief statement of all consultations. C, brief statement of how the consultation was undertaken. D, outline of the results of consultation. And E, brief explanation of any changes made as a result of consultation. The Machakos County Climate Change Regulations 2021 as forwarded to the County Assembly did not incorporate the above state 10 documents as provided for under Section 5A of the Statutory Instruments Act 2013. Conferring with the regulation making authority, Section 16 of the Statutory Instrument Act requires the committee, insofar as it is practically possible, to confer with the regulation making authority for the information and modification where necessary. Based on the aforementioned, the Clerk of the County Assembly, by a letter reference MKSCA/PCS/CMM/DCL/Volume 1/12 dated 7 September 2021, invited the Chief Officer, Department of Water, Irrigation, Environment and Natural Resources for a committee at the Assembly Boardroom 2A on 13th September 2021 at 12 p.m. to discuss, to address concerns raised by the committee in relation the climate change regulations. The Chief Officer failed to honor the invitation, but instead forwarded documents dated 13th September 2021 in form of an explanatory memoranda in support of the consultation that the department made in relation to the regulations. The committee scrutinized the forwarded explanatory memoranda, and it was resolved that the Chief Officer be invited once more to appear before the committee to address concerns by the members in consideration of the Machakos County Climate Change Regulations. Pursuant to Article 195(1) of the Constitution of Kenya, the Clerk of the County Assembly, by a letter reference MKSCA, PCS, CMM, DCLs, Volume 1, 13, dated 14th September 2021, inviting the Chief Officer, Department of Water, Irrigation, Environment, and Natural Resources for a committee meeting scheduled on Monday, 20th September 2021 at 12 p.m., but the Chief Officer failed to honor the invitation. We have consultation, public participation, Section 5 of the Statutory Instrument Act. The regulations contravenes Article 10 of the Constitution and Section 5A of the Statutory Instruments Act, which require the regulation making authority to conduct public participation and sufficient consultation with the stakeholders and persons likely to be affected by the regulations. The forwarded explanatory memoranda indicates consultations with the relevant stakeholders. However, disclosure of their consultation is very brief, as it only mentioned a number of senior persons in various state organs and bodies, and gives a general view of the issues discussed. In this regard, the explanatory memoranda had not demonstrated consultation with members of public and given a detailed indication on the issues discussed. Honorable Speaker, the PFM Act and its related subsidiary regulations amongst them, the Public Finance Management County Governments Regulations 2015, which gives effect to Article 207 of the Constitution. Regulation 85.2 of the Public Finance Management County Governments Regulations 2015 provides that there shall be 2 authorized signatories to sign a check, drawn or electronic payment or fund transfer on a county government bank account. Article 10 of the Constitution of Kenya mandates public and state officers to comply with the national values and principles of governance when interpreting the Constitution of Kenya, enacting regulations, or making policy decisions. The county executive and the county assembly, being state and public entities, are therefore mandated to comply with Article 10(1) and 2 of the Constitution. Regulation 15.3 of the proposed Machakos County Climate Change Regulations 2021, which provides that the signatories to the Climate Change Fund account shall include A, the chairperson of the steering committee, who is the deputy governor; B, chief officer responsible for matters relating to climate change; and the fund administrator. Therefore, violates the above mentioned provisions. Committee recommendations. Having examined the Machakos County Climate Change Regulations 2020 against the Constitution of Kenya, the Public Finance Management Act 2012, Public Finance Management Governments Regulations 2015, and the Statutory Instruments Act 2013, the committee recommends that the House annuls the said regulation, statutory instrument for failing to demonstrate that sufficient public participation was undertaken contrary to Article 10, 18, and 201 of the Constitution, Section 5A of the Statutory Instruments Act 2013, and Regulations 85.2 of the Public Finance Management County Governments Regulations 2015. Honorable Speaker, it is therefore my privilege on behalf of Committee Delegated County Legislation Committee to table this report for consideration and adoption. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Kituku. Honorable members, I now propose the question that this House discusses and approves the committee report of the delegated county legislation on consideration of the public finance (Machakos County Climate Change Fund Administration close bracket, regulations 2021. Honorable members, I now invite you to debate the motion. Honorable Kingori.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My name is George Kingori, representing the people of Mudhwani. Madam Speaker, as you are aware that the bill of climate change came from this side where I am. And what there was the theme and the nature of that bill was...
It's already an act.
Yes,
this
an act.
House passed it.
Yeah, now
so
it's
it is
an act.
already an act of the county government.
Yes, now it's an act because it's an act now.
Yes.
As it is, after considering whatever was written in the act, it shows that we have a county, a deputy governor who is also the CC Finance. But in the next government, maybe the CC will not be the deputy governor. So we saw there's deformity, there's mistakes in the bill that needed to be checked so that we can have Article 10C of the Kenyan Constitution entrenched so that we know of equity and separation of different entity is found there. So, Madam Speaker, I think it was in order for the committee to recommend a suspension of the regulation so that we can have now amend the constitution, the act, so that at least it can conform to the constitution itself. And secondly, Madam Speaker, it is also to see that justice has been served to the people of Machakos on this matter, which is on matter bill, which is also under the PFM Act, Madam Speaker. We saw that the executive have taken most of its powers, which is not the spirit of the climate change bill, because we thought the public is the one which was supposed to have powers to institute those progress on climate change. Because as you know, Madam Speaker, the people who suffer most is our client, who are the public, Madam Speaker. I think it's in order for us now to say that the bill, the regulation cannot be properly confined when we have seen a fault in the act, Madam Speaker. It is in good faith that we ask this House to agree with us on our recommendation, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Now, I seem to be lost, members, because what I understand, the regulations are to set up a fund, climate change fund. As they are set out here, they have nothing to do with the bill, with the act, sorry, the Climate Change Act. Remember, the Climate Change Act is supposed to address climatic changes in the county. And to that extent, the county to benefit from donor funding, which comes to address climate change. Now, when you come to the Public Finance Management Act, there cannot be expenditure of county money when there is no fund set up with regulations, which you are now addressing here. So these regulations are intended, or were intended, to enable the county executive committee member relevant to set up that fund, so that now the county can benefit from whatever allocations by the national government to address climate change, by whatever donations we get, by whatever money that comes in the name of climate change. So it is for the House to look at what exactly has the executive proposed to go into those regulations, and whether they conform with the provisions of Article 10, which you're referring to, on public participation. And then also whether it addresses the issue of the oversight by this assembly. Because this is about funds or money. There has to be reporting to this assembly by whoever is managing that fund. And that is one of the most critical things you need to look at. So I just want to appreciate that we are reading from the same script. Honorable Kituku, maybe we will catch up as we discuss, as we debate. But I felt it is necessary just to put a word. We'll come back to Honorable Kingori. Let me hear from Honorable Minority Leader.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I'm Alex Kamitu, MC Talod and leader of minority in this house. Madam Speaker, following your comments also, Madam Speaker, to me, we have been given, in this report, we have been given, for example, the two consideration of the public finance management of the Machakos County Change Fund Administration. Madam Speaker, in relation to these regulations, it is also giving us the purpose of the regulations. And again, Madam Speaker, if you see in these regulations, it is really clearly showing us exactly in regard to the fund, the regulations that are supposed to be followed up to the ward level. So, Madam Speaker, my comment is that these regulations are also relevant to the, in case we are going to be given this fund. The regulations are very clear, Madam Speaker, how this fund and how the fund will be administered up to the ward level. Because for one thing, there will also be a fund administrator. And by so doing, Madam Speaker, this is the regulation which is almost touching all the 40 wards. So it's a good, it's a good regulations, and I think we should go for it, Madam Speaker. That is my observation, and following the regulation that we have been given in this report, there will be a benefit. There will be of great benefit to the ward level. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable members, if I have no member wishing to comment, I'll go back. I'll just go outside of the provisions, the standing order that no member should contribute twice on a point on the same motion. I can use standing order number 1, allow Honorable Kingori. Honorable Kingori, you can speak a second time on the matter.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. I thought we shall have also to consider all the way the document was brought. Those all missing document was not supported, maybe because of the fault. They also saw the fault in the act. And that's why I have just touched on one issue of the deputy governor, who is supposed to share as the chair at his capacity as CEC. But the next government, which is coming next, at the same regulations should be used. There will be no deputy governor who will be the CEC finance, Madam Speaker.
Now, Honorable Kingori,
Then,
please, Honorable Kingori.
Yes, Madam Speaker.
Please don't bring irrelevant issues into this motion. Address what is on the table. What is the issue with the act, the one which you're calling a bill? What is the issue?
The issue is that
the vote which you're talking about.
The committee, the composition of the committee, of the higher committees, it starts from the deputy governor, who doubles up as the CEC finance. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And now, maybe the next governor, the next government, the CEC finance will not be the deputy governor of Machakos. It might be just a CEC. But now, the deputy governor was the one who is supposed to share that committee. But as the CEC finance, as present.
Do we have the act here, table clerk? With the section that Honorable Kingori is referring to, please give him to show it to us. The issue is that, members, you need to appreciate that without these regulations, the county will not access any funds on the climate change. That is the meaning of it all.
Yes, Madam Speaker.
And so it is upon the House to see how best it can assist the county to access money,
Yes,
whatever
Madam
money,
Speaker.
for climate change, because people are suffering because of climate change.
I do understand that, Madam Speaker. Let me show you. It's the composition of steering committee.
Just read into the mic.
Yeah. It's about the steering committee shall comprise of the following members who shall be appointed by the governor. The deputy governor who shall be the chairperson. The executive committee member who shall be the secretary. The executive member responsible for county treasury. Now that doubles him as the deputy governor today, and also the chair of the same committee. And also he shall be also the executive. So you see, there will be no reporting to.
Can I read it also myself?
Yes, yes, Madam Speaker.
I see if, it is reading to the same. Yes, thank you. Open the section that the member is reading. Composition of the steering committee. What section is it? Section 7. I'm looking at the composition. Honorable Kingori, you are reading section what?
Section 7, 1 to 3, I think that's where the deputy governor and the CC finance are there.
I'm not seeing it here unless it's a different. You gave me regulations or you gave me the act? I need the act. Yeah. It's a very strange. Honorable Kingori, let's read together. Let's read together. Section 7. The steering committee shall comprise of the following members who shall be appointed by the governor. The deputy governor who shall be the chairperson, right? The executive committee member who shall be the secretary. If you go to the interpretation, the committee executive member should have been defined as the member in charge of finance, is it? And then the executive committee member responsible for the county treasury. The executive committee member responsible for matters relating to agriculture, livestock, and fisheries. So what is the problem? Because reading like this, the way it is, section 7, it doesn't mean that the deputy governor must also be the county executive committee member responsible for treasury. It does not mean that.
I do understand that, Madam Speaker. But the issue is let's take this scenario when the governor and the deputy governor are not a member of the CC. He's not supposed to be here because he is not one of the members.
No. The idea here, if you read the law, the idea was to give the county executive presence in the steering committee. Okay. So it doesn't mean that the deputy governor is also the county executive committee member for finance. Even if he is not, the deputy governor would have to be, in other words, like to be the eye of the governor in that steering committee. That is the intention of this act.
Well advised, Madam Speaker.
So there should be no problem about the composition of the steering committee, and that one should not affect these regulations, unless members who sat in the committee or unless members on this floor have any other issues with the regulations. There is no anomaly.
Okay. Madam
a clear
Speaker,
interpretation, which there's no anomaly in the act.
I started advised on that, Madam Speaker.
Okay.
But the second thing, what I want to say is that maybe lack of memorandum on the issue of giving us the regulations, it doesn't show that they had public participation. There is no document at all that show that those regulations, they have done public participation, Madam Speaker. Secondly, lacking documents which is required by law, it means that it was not complete. The regulation is not complete even if we want it to pass as it is, Madam Speaker.
So those last issues, I hear you on the last issues. That is for the House to make a decision, but I wanted to guide you especially on when you link these regulations to the Act in terms of Section 7 on the composition of the steering committee. Honorable Mita Chief Whip.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My name is Honorable Moses Mita, representing Kangundo Central Ward residents. First, I want to applaud the committee for tabling the report before the House, Madam Speaker. And I want to agree with the recommendations. And Madam Speaker, under 5, consultation / public participation, Section 5 of the SI Act, Madam Speaker, you go to number 25. There is Regulation 85(2) of the Public Finance Management, into brackets, County Government's Regulations 2015, which provides that there shall be 2 authorized signatories to sign a check, drawn or electronic payment or fund transfer on a county government bank account. Madam Speaker, you go down 27, there is Regulation 15(3) of the proposed Machakos County Climate Change Regulations 2021, which provides that the signatories to the Climate Change Fund account shall include A, the chairperson of the county steering committee, who is the deputy governor; B, the chief officer responsible for matters relating to climate change; and C, the fund administrator. Honorable Speaker, my concern is that the chairperson and the chief officer, Madam Speaker, we very well know that they belong to the executive, Madam Speaker. My wish is if we would make the fund administrator like a mandatory signatory, Madam Speaker, and then the second signatory would come from either the chairperson or the chief officer. Because, Honorable Speaker, I believe we don't make laws for the current government. We make laws for governments to come, Madam Speaker. And we need to close any gap which might bring problems when we are implementing these laws we make, Honorable Speaker. How I wish we could make the fund administrator a mandatory signatory. And then either of the two becomes a signatory. Because we know people are canny. Someone can, the chairperson and the chief officer can decide to sign for funds without the knowledge of the fund administrator, Madam Speaker. So I would request we go as per the committee recommendations, Madam Speaker, and ensure that we seal any loopholes which might bring us to problems with the donor, Madam Speaker. I also believe that for us to access these funds, currently, this bill will also be taken through at another level. And Madam Speaker, it would be very humiliating for a small thing which we could have corrected in this House to be seen at another level, hence delaying the release of these funds. So, Madam Speaker, I would request that we agree with the committee and have these, adopt the report as it is, Madam Speaker, and then the legal department, Madam Speaker, takes concern of these small bits which might mess with the funds, and ensure that before we go to that level, the bill or else the act is well taken care of, and there is no loopholes as we implement the funds. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Chief Whip. Honorable Minority Leader, Honorable Chief Whip. Honorable Kituku, Chair, please approach the Speaker's table. Honorable Minority Leader included. Thank you, honorable members. Honorable Kituku, I think as chair of the Committee on Delegated Legislation, you have noted the concerns of some of the members when we are debating this motion. Perhaps you may reconsider whether you want the House to proceed and vote on it, whether you want your committee to take time and reconsider your report. Honorable Kituku. And I want to remind you of the provisions of Standing Order number 46. Once you vote on a matter, it's not likely to come back to the House until after 6 months. Honorable Kituku, please just come to the table and maybe you address the House from there.
Okay, thank you, members. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I do understand and also follow the discussions and the deliberations by honorable members and by the provisions of the standing orders. I can request the House they give maybe the committee some more time so that we can make the necessary consultations, because I would also want us to pass the regulations, because also there is this issue of the public participation and so on, and if maybe the regulations pass and the public participation was not carried out, then it might be challenged in the court of law. So if the House can agree with the committee so that we be given some more time, we do some more consultation, will be okay. So
Thank you.
Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Kituku. Your request makes sense in the circumstances of the debate that has just been on the table of this House. And so the Committee on Delegated Legislation is given time before the House votes on this motion, so that further consultations can be undertaken, so that the public is given what is due to them by way of addressing climate change in the county. And so the period for reporting back, let it be not more than 60 days from today, and that will be sufficient time for whichever consultations Mr. Chairman or Honorable Member Kituku you want to do with your committee and the executive, so that the regulations and whatever else that needs to be done can be finally addressed by this House, and the sooner the better. So, honorable members, there are the directions of the chair of this sitting. And at this point, honorable members, the sitting of this House shall be adjourned, and it is going to continue on the 13th day of October 2021 at 10 a.m. Thank you.